We are now going to work on this Review Fractions and Decimals worksheet, which I have attached to the email. I believe it's also in the packet, but I can't remember if it was in there or not. So I've attached it as well. Hopefully you're able to get it. If not, just get yourself a sheet of paper and I'm going to hold it up and go through it with you so you can write down the answers as we go, or just pay attention as we go, because you'll be doing more things like this later on. So we are going to be changing fractions to decimals and decimals back to fractions. And it sounds difficult, but when you use a power of 10 or 100, it makes it really easy. So I'm going to show you at the top. I give you an example. I have to read it this way first, and then I'll show it to you. Numbers less than a whole can be written two ways, as a fraction or a decimal. So they did a fraction over here. They have 0.25 is the same as 25 over 100. Now, this should remind you of something when you see it like a decimal like this. 25 cents, right? 25 pennies out of 100 is 25 cents. What coin do we use to represent that? You guys know it's a quarter, right? So you could also write this fraction as a quarter, but that's a little bit more that we'll do a different day. Since you have two numbers after the decimal, you have to write 100, you have to have two zeros on the bottom. Some of them you'll just have 1 0. Sometimes you have two. It depends on where the decimal is. So on this one, the decimal, you have two numbers after it. On this one, you only have one number after the decimal. And so on that one, you would write 2/10. This is the same as 20 cents. But we write that one as 2/10 instead of 20 over 100. Because that's just writing more zeros that we don't need. We can eliminate some zeros from that one. So we're going to go through this together. So the first one is 51 out of 100. So if you had 51 pennies out of 100, how much would you have? I'm going to write my answer and then show it to you. You would hopefully, this is what you came up with, 0.5151 cents. So you had the 100 on the bottom, so you're going to have two numbers after the decimal here, and you had the 51 up there, so you know you have two. Now our next one is 5/10. So we saw that 2/10 is 0. I should write a 0 in front of my 51. We'll write it as money. We would put the $sign in front, right? But you should always have your 0 there. So the next one, I'm just going to have 0.5 because I only have one number on top. I only have one number after the decimal. So 5/10 is the same as 0.5 in a decimal. Okay, let's see if you can finish that row. So the next one says 63 over 100. So what would you write? You write it on your piece of paper, a lined sheet of paper, and I'm going to write it on mine. And then the next one is 92 over 100. So hopefully you have 0.63 and then 0.92. Okay, the next one is a little trickier. So now they're giving us the decimals and we're going to change them into fractions. So before, and the answer's at the top. So this one is really easy. At 0.25, you're going to write 25 over 100. Let me show you the row when I finish this row. The next one says 0.4. Do you know what to do for that one? 4 over 10. And then you have 0.40. And then you have 0.85. So What would you do for that one? Write them on your paper. I'm going to show you my answer. Hopefully you got the same. 25 over 100, 4/10, 40 over 100, and then this one is 85 over 100. Okay, our next row has a mix. So now it gets a little tricky. We have 25 over 10. What do you think we're going to do for that one? $2.5. We're just going to move that. It's almost like our 25 has a decimal at the end, and we're just moving it one. Let me show you. So the decimal is always at the end of the number. Sometimes we just don't write it. It'd just be extra work. And we're moving it one space to the left when we're dividing. So we're taking this decimal and moving it over 1. So it's 2.5. The next one, 0.15. So we're going to write that as a fraction. And then 0.94, write that as a fraction. And then 55 over 100, so write that as a decimal. Okay, did you get that row done? Check your answers. Now you should be getting the hang of it for sure. 73 over 100, write that as a decimal. 82 over 100, write that as a decimal. Now a tricky one, 7 over 10. You know what I forgot on all of mine? You guys would be shouting at me right now in the classroom to go back and put my zeros before. Right? Any of the zeros? Went back and filled those in. This one I don't need one because it's 2.5. So I don't need a 0 in front of the 2. But for this one, 0.73. This one, 0.82. And then this one, 0.7. Now what am I going to do for this one? 0.3. Change it to a fraction. 3 over 10. Halfway there almost. 0.6. What will that one become? Okay, 0.45. 0.95. You guys are probably going ahead and finishing this without me. And then 64 over 100. You can change that to a decimal. And I'm going to remember to put my 0 in the front. There's that row. Next one, 22 over 100. So change that to a decimal. And then 0.79. Write that as a fraction. I got another tricky one, 43 over 10. So I'm only moving the decimal one time to the left. And then I have 0.5, changing that one to a fraction. You guys are getting the hang of this, I bet. 0.22, 79 over 100. This was the tricky one, 4.3, and then 5/10. All right, now we have 1/10, 4/10, 0.1. Feels like I just saw that one, so that's easy. And then 32 over 100. You ready? Here's this row. Like I said, these are really easy when you have a 10 or a 100 because there's a pattern. And once that pattern clicks in your head, every time you see a fraction that looks like this, it's going to just come right to you, especially if you think about money. Like the next one, 99, 100. So if I had 99 cents, how would I write that? And then this next row has 0.2, so I write that as a fraction, and then 2/10, so I write that as a decimal. So those two are easy. except I keep forgetting my zeros at the front. Go back and look and make sure I have those. Make sure you're putting those zeros at the front. All right, one more row to do. You ready? 9/10, 8/10, 0.66, and 28/100ths. There we go, our last row. Another day I will show you an even easier way when you're doing other fractions that don't have a 10 or a 100 in them, that you can still change your decimals to a fraction and your fractions to a decimal. And it's fun because I'll let you use a calculator when you're doing it. So I will show you that secret another time. But for now, I hope that this kind of helped you, and you can go online and play some games to keep reviewing this on your own, keep practicing on your own, and do a great job. Have a wonderful day.